If there's ever a SoulCalibur game without Mitsurugi, then it's like taking a dump on something. I don't know. The next new character on this list, Natsu. She I get the impression that she's like kind of like a Setsuka here, where she's like a gaijin, if you will, like a white person who's obsessed with Japanese culture. I don't know. She just looks that way to me. She seems to be a offspring, or I think they said she was a disciple of Taki, and so I guess she's training under Taki, and maybe she'll get big boobies too, and she'll wear the suits that make it look like she has a penis. But she's cool, I guess. Isn't she? I think she's traveling with Maxie's group. I can't remember. Not really sure. But, she's alright, I guess. I don't really care that much. I just kind of want to see who she is. I don't really know much about the new character's personalities, to be honest, except for, I think 2 people. Or really 3, I don't know. But she's alright, and, I mean, it'll be nice to see another Taki-like character, but obviously she'll play different. Now, this next character is arguably the protagonist. His name is Patroclus. Yeah, Patroclus, I think. He was mentioned a few times, actually, I think, in the backstory of Sophidia. He's actually Sophidia's son, and he seems to be the protagonist right now. And he's voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, so that makes him cool. He strikes me as sort of an offensive version of Sophidia and Cassandra. Mainly of, Sophidia, I think, just because of... And I'm just going based on the fact that, I don't know, I mean, he kind of strikes me as more of a Sophidia kind of character. We've seen bits and pieces of his fighting style, and I like how he kind of uses his shield to hit things, which kind of makes him more like Cassandra, if anything else. But, yeah, he seems to be the protagonist, and I think Siegfried's trying to train him to become the next wielder for SoulCalibur. I don't know, the story's kind of weird, but he seems kind of cool. He strikes me as a determined, heroic, loyal kind of guy, and he probably wants to get SoulCalibur so he can rid the world of all evil. He is probably a holy knight who points to the sky, if anyone gets that, which you probably should at this point. But, he's cool. I like him. I don't know if I'd call him a favorite, but he's definitely up there. Especially as far as characters that I would want to use. Because, he seems like pretty accessible. And since he seems to be an offensive version of Cassandra and Sophidia, I mean, that's kind of cool. In my opinion, at least. Another new character, Pyrrha, who is Patroclus' sister. To my understanding, Pyrrha stole her, and she was raised by Pyrrha, so her sense of right and wrong is probably different, unless she's one of those children that distance themselves personality-wise from their parent or guardian. I don't know. I mean, even though Pyrrha is her Pyrrha's her offspring. Even though Pyrrha's her guardian, I get the impression that Pyrrha doesn't really dislike Pyrrha. She probably fears Pyrrha, and that probably is some other form of hatred that she might have. But I don't know. Yeah, Pyrrha kind of strikes me as a meek, sort of quiet and soft-spoken kind of person, someone who may have some low self-confidence or something, just based on what I've seen. She seems to have amnesia, I think, and I don't know if she'd recognize Patroclus. I think Patroclus would recognize her, but, As far as her fighting style, she seems to me like the Cassandra person. Personality-wise, I feel like she's probably more like Sophidia in terms of her calmness, but I don't know. Maybe Namco is just trying to do is ooh, she's like Sophidia, but she fights like Cassandra. She's interesting. I kind of want to see what happens with her. If brother and sister get reunited, or if other stuff happens. I'm not really sure. But, we can't really determine until we play the story mode. But overall, she seems interesting, and I kind of want to know what her situation is, too. Next, we've got good old Rafael, who I think my buddy Ryo sums it up pretty nicely by saying, okay, he's Dracula back then, but now he's like Alucard. He kind of looks like something like that. He strikes me now as like either completely neutral, like to the point to where like he'll just do his own thing and he'll help out the good guys as opposed to helping out the bad guys, or if he's just like a little bit good. Because I feel like in SoulCalibur 4, he kind of changed to where he's kind of neutral than bad. Like I feel like he went SoulCalibur 2 good, SoulCalibur 3 evil, SoulCalibur 4 neutral, and then SoulCalibur 5 I'm assuming good. And he seems to be looking for Amy. I guess she got lost or something. I don't know. We don't really know her situation, but he seems to be kind of traveling the world trying to find her. I don't know what his plan is after he finds her. Maybe he'll be like, let's just go home and have a life, and I'll get a job or something. Maybe he'll get a job as a bodyguard or a fencing instructor. I don't know. But, he seems cool. I mean, if people really don't like it, they can just get rid of the hat. But what I was saying beforehand about Rafael being a prime example of this whole character thing, like in SoulCalibur 2, there really wasn't much to him. He didn't really have sort of like some sort of like theme going for him, and I feel like he didn't really have too much of a personality from what I remember. And then SoulCalibur 3, they kind of did the whole vampire thing, which honestly I was okay with because he kind of looked like a vampire kind of guy anyway. I just didn't like the way his hair looked. I thought he looked kind of dumb. And kind of liked how they kind of gave him a little more depth than just being some guy with a fencing sword who wants to find and protect, or who wants to protect his foster daughter. Good motives, yeah, but there's not really much. That's more of a motive and not really personality. Then 4 came around where they kind of blended the two, and I feel like now they kind of have a good idea of what they want to do with them. We'll just have to see what he does in the story. But, he'll probably cross paths with the gang, and they might have to fight him, and he'll be like, oh, where's Amy? Oh, I don't know where Amy is. Oh, okay, see you later. Bye. That kind of thing. Siegfried once again returns after being absent for one game. He's grown older, and he doesn't have SoulCalibur anymore, so he's the leader of a mercenary group, along with Hilda, and I think he's mentoring Patroclus and teaching him how to use SoulCalibur. The big thing, I think, is that SoulCalibur is switched to a one-handed sword, and so I guess it can just change its form at will whenever it gets tired. And so Siegfried tries to find the next successor to SoulCalibur, and I think he's choosing Patroclus, and he's going to train him. I don't really know what that's all about, but I feel like once Patroclus has been established or whoever is established as the next successor to SoulCalibur, Siegfried will probably disappear and will be replaced with another Zweihandler kind of character. I don't know. That's just my speculation because, at this point, I don't know if we necessarily need Siegfried. Yeah, he was kind of the protagonist, but he kind of went from being the protagonist. He kind of went from just being there to being there some more and being like an underlying protagonist to being sort of a focus because he wasn't even there anymore to being some redeemed hero to becoming the protagonist in the final in SoulCalibur 4. And then here he is kind of being a mentor. I don't really have anything wrong with that, but, at this point I feel like he's sort of overstayed his welcome, or he's getting close to overstaying his welcome. Pyrrha, Pyrrha's guardian. They seem to be giving her some sort of like Harley Quinn kind of look to her, which I'm fine with. And I think she's like now 20-something or 30-something, so she seems to be more mature when she's in her jolly mood. She seems to have different names for like her moods like jolly and gloomy. She's still mean and a jerk when she's in her gloomy form, but when she's jolly, she seems to be more mature. I don't know. We'll kind of have to see how she is. I mean, it makes me a little. That intrigues me a little bit if she's going to be a little more mature about things. Because back then she was like, what, 17? And now she's like, what, 20 or 30 something? I mean, that's kind of cool. You know, I like, she's okay. I feel like she's an interesting character. Good old Pyrrha. I don't know. I kind of just want to see how everything plays out between her and Pyrrha and see what the big thing between them is. I don't know if Pyrrha plans on leaving Pyrrha, and Pyrrha's just like, oh, okay. It's like, or she's like, no, don't leave, or something. Oh, Viola. She's another one of the new characters. Though people speculate that she may be Amy. I think really on the grounds that she kind of looks like Amy. I don't think there's really anything else we can go by. But then again, I don't know. Maybe she's a relative to Amy, and maybe like she's looking for Amy. I don't know. She seems to have amnesia, so that kind of helps the case of her being Amy. I'm not really sure, and I'm not really for or against the idea of her being Amy. I think that'd be kind of dumb though, because then they'd be just recycling old characters, and then that kind of be defeating the whole purpose of SoulCalibur 5 being the next generation of SoulCalibur characters. Although you could say, well, since Amy's younger, she could technically be the successor to Rafael.